Okay, welcome to Inside the Challenge. That's the title of this whole genre of what we have created here. I have today with me Sacha Lee of Aon Design and Architecture, and so first, thank you, Sasha, for joining. I'm going
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure, Jonathan.
My pleasure. We've developed this nice rapport now, and so Sasha's going to talk to me about what she just spoke to me about earlier this week when we were catching up on operations and the impact that people can have on an operation. So, without further ado, I will you.
Yeah. So earlier this week, just to preface, Jonathan and I had a conversation. We were just catching up, and I mentioned that recently, I've been going through a lot, and one of the big things was losing a valuable employee. So I thought we could talk a little bit about what it's like when you lose essentially, somebody that's vital to the operations of your business and how you can kind of mitigate the bleeding of that situation. If
Or
you
the
will. I'm
hemorrhaging.
no Yeah, the hemorrhaging of the situation, like when you have a business, I mean small or otherwise, though mine is small, you know uh, the actual business operations is very important to make it a successful business.
Yeah,
I could be doing beautiful projects all day long, but if I don't have a business that operates properly, then it doesn't really matter.
right.
Projects don't always, quote unquote, speak for themselves. You know what I mean? So out of nowhere, unfortunately, I had an employee give their notice. And, it was a big shock to me. She left not for any reason to do with my business, but a personal reason of her own. She left on good terms, but she was very integral to the day-to-day operations of my business. And, I know it's when something like that happens in your business that you can't anticipate. There are a couple of things that you're allowed to do. Number one, you're allowed to feel sorry for yourself for a second. um, right, you get that drop in your stomach and think, okay, what next? But it's important to really start thinking on your feet. So what happened after that, I had her really put together a list. I basically asked her to take the next week and write down everything she did in a day so that the person coming in would have an understanding of where things stood in terms of ongoing tasks and projects. We also looked at the transition plan together. So she had started this document thankfully a while ago. And this is where having really good systems in place is super helpful.
Mhm.
If you end up in a situation where things are not going as per
Someone
plan.
throws your business for a loop.
When somebody throws your business for a loop, it is really nice to have systems in place. And that's something that I've always done from day one, even when it was just me, right? When it was just me, I had a full filing system, I had operating procedures. Didn't matter if I was the only one there to follow them or not follow them, they were there.
Well, the book when you're
And
by yourself and you're like, no, 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 I don't like what I read here. I'm going off book. I'm going off
yeah,
script.
exactly. Of course, I have the creative license to do that when I want to. But once you start adding employees, then it becomes even more important to
Yeah,
have those systems into place,
yeah,
right? And so what we basically did was an audit of the systems for the operations side.
yeah.
What had changed since we had put together the manual, put together a transition plan, which included things like what is expected on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. What sort of systems is that person in charge of? So, for example, we use Slack for communication. She was the admin on that. We had to transfer admin, ownership, those types of things to make it easier for us to continue operating in her absence. And the other thing I did obviously was put together a job, like a new job description.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And got that out there as quickly as possible.
And that was that
I
was based on the document that she had created of all of the both what you knew she was doing and some of the things you may or may not have known she was doing.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I actually created that job description first. I had her review it and make any adjustments as well. And then together we got that out there as quickly as possible onto as many platforms as possible, to see what would come back.
Mhm.
I do have a I do have a kind of belief to hire slow, fire fast. Not that I'm firing anybody in this situation, but I didn't want to just fill the role. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So her and I did spend, a few days, um, basically bringing me up to speed on some of the things she was doing on the vitally important things like invoicing, things like I said, like what was she the admin on? How could I become the admin of those things? And basically assess like what are the top three things that need to continue happening until this role gets filled. I think that that's applicable to any position that you're looking to fill in your business, right? Is like, okay, what are the vitally important things that need to continue moving?
Mhm.
What are the balls that can get dropped for a
Mhm.
few weeks before somebody new can pick those up,
Right.
right? And then who is going to take on those vitally important tasks? Now, in this particular instance, obviously it was me, because I'm the owner of the business and I'm the most integrated into the operations other than this one
Yeah.
person. If it were maybe one of my design team, those tasks could get split up in a different way, right? To other designers or project
Yeah.
managers. It wouldn't all always fall on me in that instance. And I think you need to, as the owner of the business, assess like what do you need to do and what could other people do in the interim, right? Until you fill that role. Um, and then I just started reviewing resumes. Luckily, I got a nice wide range of resumes.
And where
And
have you posted this? Is this on Indeed or other place? Other place?
I didn't actually post on Indeed.
Okay.
No, I used LinkedIn Professional. I
Yeah.
think that was a really good platform for me. I
Yeah.
also posted on the OAA website.
Oh, smart. Yeah.
Yeah. I use the OAA website for any job posting, regardless of whether it's an architectural position or otherwise, because there are lots of people who work in the architectural profession who are not architects or designers, right, who will continue to monitor that site.
Right.
And it's one of the tools that, as an architect, I have at my disposal. So why would I not use it?
Yeah.
And then we also posted on all of our social media platforms, our website, and then just spread the word, right? So, I let the rest of my team know as quickly as possible, just so that it wasn't a awkward situation.
Yeah.
um, yeah, so we let them know, and obviously, ask them to spread the word as well, because as you know, Toronto is a fairly small area and you are as
Even
good as
though
your
it's big.
connections.
Yeah.
It's big, but it's also small, in some
Yeah.
ways. And so yeah, we just spread the word like organically as much as possible too. And then I set up a system, or I reviewed my hiring system and made some adjustments. So I kind of have a 3-step process for hiring. Well, I guess we maybe want to call it 4, where the first step is obviously just reviewing resumes and putting together a chart with comments.
Mhm.
So, basically, there are all of these um, criteria that need to be met. What criteria is being met, what criteria is maybe not being met,
Mhm.
and any other questions that you have just based on reviewing that resume, right? So I started there. From there, looking at the full chart. I, selected a number of people to do a short phone interview with, where I ask more basic questions. I get them to understand more about the role, to make sure that it's a good fit for them. But also, I ask questions to understand if they would be a good fit for us. And again, adding to that chart.
Yeah.
So I do that, the quick phone interviews, get as many of those done in as few days as possible, basically spend, 8 hours a day on the phone talking to people. And then from there, I ask people to come in for in-person interviews. And the in-person interviews are obviously a lot more in depth. Again, I prepare questions based on their resume, their answers to the phone interview, and then also, general questions that I have about how they would handle specific tasks or situations that come up. This is a great time to get AI involved, to be perfectly honest. So I fed the job description into ChatGPT, and I asked ChatGPT to come up with a list of questions based on the job criteria.
Mm.
And then I refined it from there, right?
Yeah.
And then I created a scorecard. So it was a way for me to be subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a way for me to be subjective and just get my thoughts down on paper after having an in-person interview with somebody, right? Because if you're doing 2 or 3 of those interviews in a day, it's easy to get those details mixed up in your head.
Mhm.
But I found creating a scorecard was a way for me to quickly get my thoughts onto paper in a
Right.
way, again, that was subjective, so that I could really, nail down, okay, what qualities does everybody have and which ones do I think are going to be the best assessment or the best suited to my particular role that I'm looking to fill. Because I have a small team,
Yeah.
obviously, like personality fit is a big part of that.
Yeah.
And after a few interactions with people, you get to understand what you could probably expect on a more regular basis from them
Right.
as well.
And
Um,
and a question for you to just
yeah.
so I want to just understand this. Do you find that when you're going through the process of hiring, that there are those that come and they only are ready to answer your questions, but they have none of their own?
Oh, yeah. A big part of it is asking them to ask what questions they
Right?
have for me as well. Yes.
And
You
do
can
they
tell
know about
who's
your business?
exactly. Yes. Like, are they genuinely
Yeah.
interested in your business? And do they see the future of your business the same way that you see it, right? So I do ask questions about, their goals. And then I do what I would say the most telling for me is somebody who says, what would be the top 3 or 6 or whatever deliverables for the first year for
Right.
you? Somebody who asks me that, I know that they're goal oriented in a way that I want that person to be, right?
Yeah.
If before they even get a job offer, they're already thinking like, what would set me up for success?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I do screen resumes, I do the phone interview, I do the in-person interview. Obviously, then, the top candidates I ask for references.
Yeah.
So I check references. Actually, before I check references, but after I've received them, I did a personality fit assessment. So it was a really quick 10-minute quiz that I asked my top few candidates to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I also had my team and myself do the personality quiz as well. This one that I did was called the DISC assessment. I did it with actually a former client and friend of mine, who's an EI coach, emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Kind of um, she mainly coaches like C-suite executives, but she's also really focused on helping teams work together harmoniously. So I did that as well to
Right.
assess, whose personality again would be a good fit within the other personalities that we have within the office,
Right.
right?
And you want someone so
And
calm.
honestly, yeah, I think everybody got something out of it. Free of charge, I sent everybody their assessment afterwards so they could read about themselves as well. Um, and for me, it was really helpful to understand like how can we play to each other's strengths and how can we help each other through our weaknesses as well, or elevate our weaknesses. So that's it. You know, I do the resume, whatever,
Yeah.
screening,
Yep.
phone interview, in-person interview, disc assessment, and then reference check.
Right.
And then after that, when I'm ready, then I make the hire. And thankfully, I'm at that point where this person that I have hired has started 2 weeks in, and it's going well. And just kind of to go back to the beginning, those three things that my former operations manager and I um, identified as being the most important tasks that needed to continue on through that whole tumultuous period are the first things that I then dive into with the new person,
Right.
right? So that they can so that they can understand what the main priorities are and where most of their time should be focused, but also so that we can keep the business
Yes. Moving.
humming along as
Yeah.
smoothly as
Yeah.
possible. Yeah. Yeah.
Sasha, great input. I appreciate this so much. It's a different take on what an important element of running a practice is. And most of us are running, small businesses.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah,
that one
exactly.
person leaves, it's highly impactful. So
Hugely impactful, and I think it's also but it's also an opportunity to maybe assess where currently your strengths and weaknesses
yes.
are and hire somebody who can play to some of those weaknesses
Yeah.
to elevate your business higher, right? So yeah, it's really unfortunate at the time, but it also can be an opportunity for growth in a different way, if you want to frame it in your mind that way.
Yeah. Well, look, I appreciate it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Thank you so much for asking me to talk on this subject. I hope that it resonates with somebody.